Hi Hole Herb is the second episode of the sixth season of 2.5 Men. This is directed by James Widdoes, and as always there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. It's a good episode. There's nothing about it I didn't like. I don't think it's a personal favourite. I don't have too many thoughts, but there are definitely some moments that I really enjoyed that I want to talk about. So it starts off with Jake spinning a condo sign. It's nice that Jake's getting to an age where he can start to earn a bit of money or, well, a Playboy magazine, courtesy of Evelyn. And later on, Alan's talking with Berta. We learn that Alan was a fluffer in a pet salon when he was younger. And then Charlie comes in and asks Alan to borrow a few $100s, which is different because usually it's the other way on. And Alan has $38. And he made a good point. He said it's enough money that if he gets into a difficult situation, it can probably help him out, but not so much that if he was robbed and somebody stole his money, he wasn't going to fight back for it. So I thought that was quite an interesting point, and it kind of made me wonder, how much do I think is a good amount for that? And I have to say, I probably agree with that. And Charlie points out that Alan is not a fun guy, which Alan doesn't love, and Alan's not in the best of moods in this episode, because Alan comes in a while later and Charlie still hasn't paid him back. And Charlie gives Berta money. He pays her back for some food she ordered, and he pays her more than is necessary. So he's clearly got the money to spare now, but he still hasn't paid Alan. And he's not going to give Alan the money back because Alan owes him, I think he said $1 million for living rent-free at his property. Which is fair enough. I understand Charlie's argument, but at the same time, if you promise to pay somebody back when you borrow money, you really should pay them back. And Alan gets his own back, and I love this scene. Charlie comes in later on really annoyed because apparently he was out driving and he had loads of gas in his tank, but then there was less gas, and we learn that Alan siphoned it, and we find this out because Charlie smells the gas on Alan's breath, and he gets out a lighter and obviously threatens to put this near Alan's mouth where there will still be, I guess, some gas left over, and that's how Alan confesses. But Charlie didn't have $38 of gas in his tank, so he still owes Alan $24.78, and Charlie's not happy, so he tells Alan to get out. And Alan isn't initially going to go out, and then Charlie holds up the lighter again, and the way Alan scurries out, it was fantastic. Really, really funny. Very, very well done. Great performance. Well, great performances all around there. And Alan drops off Jake's stuff at Judith's, and he's kind of hinting that he's just going to have to stay in a hotel while he finds his feet. And Herb, clearly not used to Alan maybe taking advantage of people a bit too much, says that he can stay there. So obviously this is what Alan's going to do, and Herb goes over to Charlie's to collect some of Alan's stuff that he left behind. And we have this really great exchange between Herb and Charlie. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written, really fun, and it definitely is a different dynamic than we see with Charlie and Alan. So while Herb is over at Charlie's getting drunk, Alan's asleep on the sofa at Judith and Herb's. We also have a fun story about Herb setting up his model trains in the spare room, which I rather enjoyed. And Alan goes to the bathroom, and I couldn't remember what happened in this episode. It's been a while since I saw it, and my first thought was, has he got into the model train room by mistake? He's not at home. He's obviously not got his bearings properly. I know he used to live there, but it's been a while. Has he gone into the model train room, and is he now peeing into a train? That's not what happened. I guess the build-up here is building up to him in his sleepy state, going back into his marital bedroom and getting into the bed with Judith, obviously not realising. I will say I was a little bit disappointed at Judith's reaction, because she thinks it's Herb, because Herb's obviously not home, he's still with Charlie, and she rolls over thinking it's Herb and kisses Alan. Obviously she's still a little sleepy as well, so she's not fully aware. And I will say I expected a more dramatic reaction when she realised it was Alan. I wanted something a little bit more powerful than what we got, but it was still a funny moment. And the next thing we see, Judith goes over to Charlie's, and obviously to collect Herb, but also she makes Alan apologise to Charlie. And that's when she learned that all of this was over $24. But I don't know who's in the wrong here. Is Alan right to be annoyed at Charlie over $24? I think yes. But also at the same time, is Charlie right to be annoyed at Alan for being so insistent over $24? I'd say no. I think Alan is definitely in the right here, but it does seem very dramatic over what is not a tremendous amount of money, all things considered. And Judith gets her, they go, and Alan thinks, okay, Charlie will let me back in. But he doesn't. He shuts the door on Alan's face, and he's changed the locks in the 6 hours since he kicked him out. He's changed the locks, and then we see a thunderstorm. Beautiful, beautiful, well done, really well done. Really enjoyed that. And Alan's stuck outside, and the last thing we see is everybody in the car, and a monkey is now doing Jake's job of spinning the condo sign. So not a bad way to end it. A nice way to tie the beginning with the end. I really liked it. As I said, it's not one of my favourite episodes. Maybe not, well, I was going to say it's not one of the funniest. I don't have that many quotes. In fact, I don't think I've shared any quotes that really stood out to me as being very funny. But I think the performances here, especially with the physical comedy, with Alan running around the room, Charlie chasing after him, quite menacingly with the lighter, I really enjoyed that part of it. So definitely an entertaining episode. Maybe not an all-time favourite. But that being said, I still thought Pie Hole Herb was a really great episode of 2.5 Men.